Welcome to SoEasyAccounting's Job Management System, Course 1, The Basics of Job Management. To understand job management inside SoEasy, you need to understand that there are 3 tracking systems. There are stages, which actually equal status of a job, staff, who's responsible for this particular job, and departments, which department of our business is responsible for doing this job. To examine the first section, which is status, what stage is a job at? Does it require a quote? Well, let's get the idea in our heads. A client phones up and says, can you give us a quote? So what you do is you actually create an invoice and you set the status to requires a quote. We've done the quote, so now we need to follow up the job. We get the job, so we've now got to order parts for it. The job is ready, it's all done, and now it's finished. So that's status. Wouldn't it be great to be able to look at all of your jobs and see which jobs you've got to order parts on, and then just deal with that particular section of ordering all the parts. So that's what status is. The next part of job management is understanding staff and who is responsible for the job currently. This helps us identify how much workload an individual person has got. The third element of job management is understanding which department. Now, your business may not have departments, but for those who do, the question raised is which department is responsible for which job. So these 3 areas of status, staff and department can all be set up inside SoEasy and then managed. Departments, though, are not covered in this particular video because it's a different module. The results we're aiming for is that we want to be able to see a list of current jobs, we want the due date warnings, we want to know the estimated time, and we want to identify the status. Let's see how all of this glues together inside SoEasy's Enterprise version. First off, let's have a look at job status. To do so, I'm just going to go into Platform, Debtors, Invoices, and let's examine a particular invoice. Right here in the middle, I can see the job date and status, 23rd of August. Easier if I just simply click on it with my mouse, and here I'm ready to go. Here is the job due date. Here is the amount of minutes that I think this job is actually going to take. I've chosen that Mary is in charge of this job, and I've set the status that we're on site. But let's go and send it back a little bit. Let's say our quote is required for this particular job. So that's job number 5. Now, let's come back out of here and let's go to jobs, which is here. Click on that. Here is job number 5. Due today, it's 240 minutes, Mary's in charge of it, and a quote is required. This particular job screen gives us the ability to see everything that we need to know, like for instance whether a job is overdue, whether it's due today or in the future. I can see how many jobs I've got. I can see how many minutes I need to allocate to getting these jobs done. This particular screen gives me the ability to, in the yellow area here, click on the yellow area and move it on. Let's say I've done the quote and now I need to follow it up. It's moved that particular job to the follow-up section. Let's say I just want to see all of the jobs I've got to follow up. Click on Show All, Follow Up, go OK, and these are the jobs that I now need to follow up. Let's say I want to edit the actual invoice. Click on the little area there, and I can add normal items such as how I'd normally build a quote or an invoice. And then to return to that screen, come back to Menu. Any other button that you push will take you to the appropriate area such as Database. Clicking on these buttons allows me to cycle through the different statuses. And this button allows me to see all the jobs that are currently overdue. So here's the situation. I give Peter a call and say, look, I'm sorry it's overdue. It can be available in 2 more days' time. It's no longer overdue, so it's no longer in this list. Show all. Here's this job here. What jobs by today? You can also export this to a spreadsheet. You can also click on the headings here and reorder the sort order of this particular screen. So the job management screen is extremely flexible in being able to show us in a snapshot what our jobs look like and give us the ability to edit those particular jobs as we go along. If you've got a big 1080p screen, this will actually show in the larger screen format. At work, what we tend to do is have this loaded in on a very large screen, and in the morning all the techs come in and have a look at their particular jobs. And the job manager can actually go through and make sure that people get their focus. You might be asking, how do I set up the statuses of a job? Well, simply come into Platform, go to Setup, go to Job Sheets, and here you can add your own set of statuses. A thing that's important about statuses is to try to imagine how a job progresses through your business and establish statuses that suit your particular requirements. Also, another good idea is to make sure that the sort order is a number. And the benefit of this is, let's say that I've made a mistake and quote required should be between follow-up and order parts. All I've got to do is change this number. So it should be, in this particular case, 1025. Click on that. And now quote required is right in the middle of them there. Let me put it back. And the thing is that once you've added all your statuses, for SoEasy to recognize them, you've got to exit the entire system and come back in. So that's pretty much covered statuses or stages. Next area we need to look at is how to monitor staff. Debtors, invoices, clicking on there, I can choose who is in charge of this particular job. Now to set up the people's names in here, what you've got to do is basically come out of Platform, go to Cashbook, go to Setup, Security, and add a user into the security settings. The important part is to make sure that they have not got access to other areas. Now you might say, well, these people actually don't access SoEasy at all. That's fine, that's not a problem, but they still need to actually be added in the security system for them to appear in the staff area. And some key areas about this is job logging. Make sure you give them a number. If I just grab that there and drag it down, you can see the order that the guys and girls here get put into the staff list. So once you've added your staff members into the security system here, don't forget to exit SoEasy and then come all the way back in. And now what you'll be able to do is underneath debtors, set up who is in charge of this particular job. Now the benefit of doing that is simply so that you can actually have jobs in here and see who is currently responsible for them. But you may also like to use the diary function. Wherever you see the 30 sign here, click on it with your mouse. Now at the moment, I've got a few jobs sitting in the job pending list. How do they get there? Let's come out of here, go to debtors, go to invoices. Whenever I'm adding a job, I can choose to place it in the diary. I can give it a date, a time, and a duration. Now, important things happen. If I don't put in a particular time, it will go into what's called a job pending list, because although the system knows the date that this should be in the diary, it doesn't know what time. Here I can go straight to the diary, click on that with my mouse. This is the job pending list. On yours it might actually appear like this. Along the top here I can choose the day, the week, or all staff, and this is the diary of Ian. Here is the current month, and I can choose different functions to guide me through different days, periods, etc. I can even cycle through different days by clicking on this here. But let's say I want to place this job at 11 o'clock on Tuesday for Ian. I simply click on there and then click on the 11 o'clock, and there it is, loaded in. Let's say that I'd made a mistake and I didn't want that there at all. Click on the job, and here what I can do is I can return it to the pending list, or go to the invoice, or even go to a map. I can make changes, and I can save the changes. Let's just return it to the pending list. If I click on staff, I get to see all staff names here. If I've got more than 4 staff, I can go to page 2. Now what I'm able to do is look at today's day, and I look and say, oh yep, no one's got any jobs on at the moment, great. I'm going to give that one to Ian, I'm going to give that job to John, and I'm going to give that job to Mary, and that job to Paul. SoEasy also has additional modules that you can actually use to put this information on a large screen so that all staff can see immediately what they're doing. So that's how you can manage staff. The last part of understanding job management is to understand departments. Now this video doesn't really cover departments, but let me give you the concept. When you are setting up your job statuses, what you're able to do is identify which department does that job. Then, with the Time Maximizer module, what you're able to do is give a department a list of their particular jobs to do. And as that department completes their job, the next department gets to receive the job. Even though an individual staff member has been identified as in charge of that job, departments can also manage jobs. But that's reserved for another video. Just summarizing this, we have jobs, and they can be assigned to an individual person or set in a status. Through the job management screen, we can see all of the current jobs. And what we're able to do is change the status of a job and keep progressing along. And we're able to filter particular jobs and immediately deal with that particular status of job. Watch out for the other videos on advanced job management, where you'll actually see actual working examples of how this mechanism works to make your environment a lot more efficient and effective.